for him going forward, A, in his run, campaign run for the presidency of the country, but B, for the next 4-8 years, if he does get the job, the highest job in the country, what do we expect from someone if any of these things are found to be true, justified, or things that have factual basis? After that, we will go on to asking other panelists, speakers, to ask questions of the supporting speakers before we then open it up to the general public. There are two main rules in my head. I'm sure there are, off the top of my head, there are two main rules in the way that we conduct business here on the Niger Votes space. The first is, please, please, and please, do not lie and do not exaggerate or massage facts or opinions and try to postulate them as facts in the support of your candidates. Many of the people on this space have been around long enough to know what politics is, what politics is like, what was really happening, what the facts are, and many of them are based in diaspora, which is why this program started with the hashtag Diaspora Challenge. So please don't lie, please don't exaggerate, please don't, because we have many fact checkers in the house who will be able to cut a speaker down to size and thereby diminish their credibility. The second thing, of course, is in as much as we know that politics is a sensitive subject, it's not a marketplace, so we will allow for people to finish speaking before the other person joins. So if you are muted at any point, it's just to bring order back into the house, nothing personal. Now, enough waffling, because we were waiting for our supporters to join us, and I can see that the Baron is in the house. So really going to now really ramp this up to speed, because I really did want to make sure that we had some great speakers in the house or supporting speakers before we get started. So one more rule about timing. As much as possible, I would like for answers to be succinct so that we can move on to the next thing. It's politics, so if we gave it 24 hours, we would all probably still be here, but we only have 2 hours. So when you are asked a question, please keep it succinct, because I will try to round you off if I need to. If that is all from me, I would like for my honorable co-host, Paikide, to take it away. We have Baron in the house and a couple of other speakers in the house, so I'll be bringing them in. Baron has already been given speaker status, so if you'd like to kickstart the questions, please.
Great. I thought we should start from a macro level and then maybe go micro as things progress. So the first question we have is this. There's been much talk about the need to totally reform and revamp the public safety apparatus in Nigeria. There's a lot of talk also about the need for transparency and accountability. Question, what is Peter Obi's vision for that reform? Specifics, please. Somebody?
Baron, you do have speaker status, so if you'd like to unmute, please.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening to Niger Food.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
It's a bit faint, Baron.
Yeah. Okay, let me. Better now? Or should I exit and come back again?
You're coming in loud. Yeah, they're coming in louder.
Is it better now? So let me see if it's my speaker. Hello? Am I loud and clear?
Yeah,
It's getting better.
yeah.
Okay, so let's start. If I'm not, sounding very clear, I could, maybe leave the space and then come back again. If you don't mind. I'm okay.
Actually, yes.
Baron, you're good. Please keep speaking.
Okay, so okay, in the question about, I think the question that Mr. Kade asked was about reform safety and government apparatus. Am I correct? So I try to
It's about public safety, which includes the police
Okay.
and those charged with the safety and security of the citizens of Nigeria.
Yes. So if you look at the manifesto, there is a great deal of about reformation of the government institutions, and one of those institutions is the police, and I think Peter Obi mentioned that a whole lot of things is going to be is going to change with the police. I think, or the way it is that our police is not too transparent. And I think, having been somebody who's governed a state, he knows that the police is the most important. And they also mentioned that there will be state police and there will community policing. So, in if you the manifesto really talk about reforming the entire police and creating state police and community police. I think that's really the specifics in it at the moment.
Hey, I interrupt. Most people just very first time don't know who you are. Do you mind telling them exactly, just briefly, who you are? Thank you so much.
Okay. I'm Baron. I'm a lawyer. I live in the UK. I'm part of the big LB campaign team. That's really it about me. I'm just an average Nigerian that want to see a good and working Nigeria. So I always support the best. It doesn't matter if it's OB or anybody. If the candidate is competent, credible, with capacity and commitment. If you call me into it, I'll always come to say, I think this person should be given some sort of chance. So I'm a lawyer by profession anyway.
Thank
Is
you,
that
Baron.
okay? And many people who've not joined this space before, I think I've spoken on this space once or twice. I think twice. I'm very happy. This one, I never thought I would be part of the speaker, but these things happen now. We can always come in and assist as much as we can. Anyway, so that's it.
So specifically, what are Peter Obi's thoughts on local, state, and federal police, and who should they report to respectively? Do you know?
Yes, I think Peter B has always mentioned that state police is going to report to the government, to the governor of the state, because of course the constitution says the governor of the state is the chief law officer of that particular state. And if you have, as I have advocated over time that you can't have a federal apparatus that reports to the federal, but then the governor is the chief security officer of the state. Now, if my detailed understanding of the manifesto is that state police will report to state governors, and community police will report to probably local governments and what offices, to ensure that there is some sort of, you will understand that, because the reason why I know what Peter Obi is trying to do is because he lives in the UK, and in the UK we have what we call community policing, intelligence-based policing. It's not about arresting people or being only acting when an action has happened. It's about community-driven intelligence, which will now form the basis of how laws are made to protect the people and so on. So state police will report to the state governor, community police will report to probably the local government or the ward or whatever they put the structure and something like that.
So the Awkuzu SARS situation was particularly horrific. There is no society in the world where that I know of, perhaps outside of Africa, where this would happen and there wouldn't be a huge outcry. Before we get into the specifics of that and the fact that the alleged perpetrators are still at large or still living large of the land. How does he plan to combat police brutality and corruption specifically?
If we listen to P2B actually has mentioned over time that he believed that the victim of SARS need redress. He even talked about NSAR, that things must be looked into and be redressed. People needs to be apologized to. The victim of those who suffered as a result of that must be, must be compensated in some form, some way, shape, or form. Now, drawing from that, you will know that this is somebody that doesn't condone or wouldn't condone police brutality. Now, I have always argued that police brutality is in a way possible because of certain factors. And one of those factors is that our police are not properly remunerated. So if that's changed, if that is in any way changed, then it's kind of, it will kind of be very difficult for police brutality to continue, because at times the brutality arises out of exploitations and a whole lot of things. So there will be redress. If he has mentioned over and over that there's some issues needs to be identified, I do not see a police, under P2B presidency to continue with police brutality. I doubt that, because there will be a lot of reform that will go, institutional reform. And that institutional reform will talk about, how human rights will be, adhere. And if somebody else talk about judicial reform, you talk about other reforms. Police brutality, if you look at it from the surface, you think it's something that you can just order police to stop. No, it has to do with remuneration. It has to be enabling the government apparatus, like enables actions. So if there is a holistic reform, police brutality will reduce. And it's not something, it's a practice that has gone over years. And I think if proper reform is put in place, it will come down. But what I can take from him, having spoken over and over about it, is that the victim of violence and police brutality are going to be, addressed and then be taken into consideration somehow.
If I could just step in here, Baron. While on the one hand, I align and agree with your response, I don't think there is a living individual that would say police brutality is a good thing. It is a great way to protect the citizens, and it is a great way to inspire trust and feelings of security in any given society or community. So I fully expect Peter Obi to completely eschew police brutality in totality and just say this isn't the right way to do business, and the people who were wronged or lost lives or property as a result of SARS or any other brutal police force need to be compensated. I think that is a politically correct response. Unfortunately, Peter has had the opportunity to do this, and it would seem as though that is not what he did when he was actually in power. So when we are talking about the floating bodies scandal during his governorship, there have been no arrests, as we know to date, even though that was a very public scandal. There were no officers that were even fired or had their contracts terminated, despite bodies in rivers as a result of police brutality. Now, I'm not suggesting for 1 second that a governor is a security officer of any station. I'm not suggesting that it is his job to go and fish bodies of innocent people out of the rivers or to personally compensate the families, but it is absolutely his job to issue an inquiry to make sure that the people who are responsible were dealt with appropriately. I'm just curious, if he was aware, what did he do in his position as the governor of that state? What were his instructions? What was the outcome? What did he do with Nwafo? How did he make the victims of the float, the living victims as well as the passed on victims? How did he make them whole when he was in a position to do that? And I'm not talking theory now and sweet words, but what did he do to make them whole?
Okay, thank you very much. Very interesting question. I'll go like this. So let's start with the fact that the governor of the state have limited power to do anything that that involve the Nigerian police. So that's the structure of the Nigerian state. The police is a federal apparatus. It reports to the capital, and of course, that is where decisions will be taken. So the government is in a way powerless as far as the actions of the police are concerned. So let's talk about what happened in Awkuzu. Awkuzu, Mr. B was away in an international visit, heard of floating body in his river, and then he cut short his international visit and came back, set up an inquiry to investigate what led to those bodies that were found at his river. That commission prepared a report, but before then, Abuja ordered the file of those investigation and everything to be moved in Abuja. If you know, SARS is a branch of the Nigerian police force, and the governor can do nothing in effect. Of course, what happened at the police. So that matter was moved to Abuja, and that was what really he can do. The thing is, we need to really understand how states work and how things are work. But I think if we look at certain informations that were out there, he did try his best to reach out to the family. But something that has got to do with the police, the governor can only press backroom button. But the whole SARS issue has
Baron, I'm sorry. This is Deji. I apologize for interrupting you, but it's our practice on this forum to always ensure that we are being factual in what we say. The Constitution, I can find the relevant section. The Constitution does allow the governor of a state to issue instructions to the top security officer in that state. Yes, and there's a section in the Constitution that says yes, the security officer then clears it with the federal authorities. Did your insinuation that Obi's hands are tied, he couldn't do anything because this is a federal matter, is not accurate, because the Constitution empowers the state governor to issue instructions, inquiries. Now, would that be followed? The section says it doesn't have to be followed. It has to be reported up to the federal government, who can then endorse. Or so the question is, what did Obi do? Did Obi call Unlawful to order? Did Obi intervene? Did Obi send Unlawful, the Inspector General, back to Abuja and say, make this stop? What exactly did Obi do when these atrocities were going on?
No, okay. So I think we need to get the context right, because there's been a whole lot of discussion about Obi and Unlawful. These things happened before Obi became governor. Those bodies, SARS has been in existence in Anambra State before Obi became governor. So most of those actions, it's unfair to say it was under him as a governor. It just happened to come to light when he was there. So
and what did he do when it came to light? Are you also insinuating, or are you stating that these atrocities did not happen during Obi's tenure?
No, most of them never. It's not about a dispute. There hasn't been any document that indict Obi as to, those actions that happened on the SARS. And of course, even where those actions happen under him, I am one of the person that I happening with him as governor. He can really do nothing. I have a whole lot of files about SARS in Lagos. It will be, on over-edging the pudding to think that the governor of Lagos State can do anything about the atrocities of SARS. That's not how we work in Nigeria. So anybody that can say the governor just received files, and not even files from SARS, he received files from the commissioner of police in that state. And what the commissioner of police gets to pass to the governor is what he gets to pass to the governor. The governor can only, that's where our constitution is a bit defective. And I think I pointed it out earlier, and I said the governor is the chief security officer of the state, of the security apparatus of security apparatus in Nigeria in the state is not under the governor. So the governor doesn't decide who is in charge, who is the commissioner of police. The governor doesn't decide who is the assistant commissioner of police. The governor doesn't decide who heads, who transfer, who even guide the governor. So it's a problem. I think there was a recent case where something happened in Lagos. The governor of Lagos went there and asked the police to leave. The police said, I don't take orders from you, I take orders from Abuja. That was his sitting governor.
And the question was, did Obi send the commissioner to Abuja and say, I need this to stop, I need this investigated, I need my people made whole? Did he do any of that?
Yes, Obi set up an inquiry to investigate what happened to those floating bodies at this river, right? He set up an inquiry to prepare a report, because as a governor, if you don't know what happened, bodies came and those bodies were cleared, the inquiry was set up by the time either, I just want to get it right, either before the report prepared or the report was released, and Abuja called for the file and every other investigation. That was how the governor, that was where he ended. So nobody could say, Nwafo never worked with P2B. Nwafo wasn't, police appointed by P2B. He wasn't sent to Anambra State by P2B. I do not know how, in all honesty, this whole Awkuzu SARS has anything to do with P2B when he was a governor.
But with all due respect, this is not good enough. That's actually okay. Your response is quite disappointing.
Okay.
Mr. Obi did nothing. That in itself is appalling. Human beings were killed like rats, and their bodies floating all over the place. And you're saying, well, because the Constitution does not give him the authorities, he couldn't do anything. He couldn't even say anything. I mean, look, that's just wrong. I was just going to be. I think that it's a simple fix. There are two issues. I worry that you're conflating issues. One is, the structure is so defective that perhaps the governor has limited powers. But when a crime has been committed in your space and you are the governor, you, through leadership, should say the buck stops with me. What did he do? You tell me specifically. When did he know about this? What did he do about it?
Just before you respond, Baron, your response will be the final response on this. So what I'm hoping to hear is either a yes, I concede he could have done more, or no, he did everything he could, and A, B. I say this because we have other topics to get through to. So I want the response to be a definitive. Do the actions, were Peter Obi's actions in that time indicative of what we will see as a president? Yes, he did enough. He couldn't have possibly done any more as the governor of the state when this news broke, whether he was the one who appointed for or not, or I concede he could have done more. And then we move on to the next topic, please.
I think Peter Obi did the best he can do within his ambits as the governor of the state. That response would have been different if he is the president, because if he is the president, he can fire whoever, anybody who directly or indirectly responsible for that action. But as governor, he really does not have such a power. So in my view, having assessed that, and of course, yeah, I have been on this page, many people know where I stand in particular issues. I'm very straightforward. In my view, as a lawyer, as somebody who sees things from an independent position, I think Peter will be acted within his powers as, the law allow him to be able to act.
Okay, we'll leave it at that, even though that is clearly not satisfactory for a lot of listeners. Just by way of a quick commercial break, if you are on this call and you think it's interesting, or you please send the Get Social and send the link to your Twitter feed, to your followers, to your fans, and please add the hashtag Diaspora Challenge. That's hashtag Diaspora Challenge. We want more listeners. We will be picking this up and allowing the general public to ask questions, which is why I'm trying to rush through this. So please share, bring more people on board. Can't wait to have you. The next topic is about the Panama Papers. The Panama Papers simply revealed that Obi had offshore accounts that he never declared in his EFCC, DSS, or INEC clearance forms. So I'd really like for Baron to speak on this. I'm just going to go through the listeners to see if we have any more of the supporters that we invited on here. But before they do that, I would like, first of all, for Pai Hide to maybe put more flesh on the bones I've laid out, and then ask specific questions of Baron, please. Pai Hide, you're on mute. I'm not sure if you're speaking.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think that for purposes of the questions, you've basically said it all in setting it up. So I'll give an example of a question. Peter Obi allegedly invested a sizable chunk of Anambra State's sovereign wealth in businesses owned by or connected with him and his family. Baron, could you please speak to this and explain to Nigerians how this is different from the illegalities some of the other candidates have been accused of over the years? Are these allegations true, for example?
Okay, should I start with the Panama Papers first, right?
Yeah.
So,
yes, please.
What happened with the Panama Papers was that before Peter Obi said, Peter Obi is a successful businessman, he lives in England and so on and so forth. And then when he took the decision to go run for Anambra State governor as a governor in the state, so he set up a trust for his funds and businesses and put them in Panama Papers.
Yeah.
Now, as he's always mentioned, can I continue?
Continue.
Yes, please.
And put them in offshore accounts, because according to him, those were things that I had before I became governor or before I venture into politics. Now, I cannot excuse if those things were not disclosed, were not disclosed in INEC as his property that he had before venturing into governorship. But I think this is, exactly this is what happened. His investment or businesses that he had before he becomes governor, he put them in an offshore account that was revealed in those Panama Papers. So that's number one. Now, the next one is about businesses, investment into businesses that were connected to his family. Now, that's completely inaccurate. What has happened is that as a governor, he wanted to invest the state's money into, he wanted to do some investment for the states that could yield something. I think it's the brewery company that was brought into the state. So he invested a steep chunk of the state's money into that. And somehow, just like his family, one or two members of his family are also people in Anambra State, just like other people who have investment, that they also bought shares in that company. That company is not connected to him, It's not his family connection. It doesn't have anything to do with family. It is state money invested in a brewery, which other people, just like people who are in the member, who are, member of the, citizens of the state, also bought shares. Now, there was a bit of conflation as to whether Next was, the investment went to Next. No, there was no state investment in Next. There was a state investment is in a brewery, which also, I think one of the two of his brothers, one of family members bought shares in there. That's actually what happened. That's the true reflection of what happened.
I have a question on that because I don't know exactly the date, but Obi did actually say that he was bringing a business to. He admitted that his family money, that investment went into his family business. He said 5%. He said he encouraged states to have 10% and his family to have 5%. So you are saying that this never happened, but Obi did mention a specific.
Please, I stand to be corrected. I've gone through all the tips on this discussion. The one of the reasons why I'm particular about certain actions is I want to see whether an action is illegal or negligence or reckless. Now, if it's an illegal action, is a no-no for me. If it's negligence, is it forgivable? If it is recklessness, can you do better? Now, there is no record of I have seen, of course, I'm not P2B. I'm not, I wasn't a part of his team when he was in Anambra State, but I can see I do independent investigation on any topics that I am interested in to try to find out what are the facts. The facts here is a brewery. His family bought in, the state bought in. It's not that he, just like as I'm not a member of I'm not from Anambra State, I'm from Imo State. People who are from Anambra, people who are even other nationalities in Nigeria can buy from that. It's just that the state needed to give that company comfort to invest in that state, to cite that company in that state because of job creation and other things. It just happened that his own family also bought. Other families bought. I don't want to be a little bit, to the edge, but do we say because he is a state governor, his family cannot invest in something because the state money is there? I don't think so.
So you're a lawyer. What do the ethics rules say? Clearly, tell me.
No, okay. So the ethics rule does not stop you from investing.
Are you no? I know the ethics rules do not stop you from investing. What does it say?
Yes.
About a sitting governor, family investing state funds in family business? I mean, in sane claims, that would be grounds for firing.
No. That's not right. There is no.
Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I have at least 30 years of experience with this. This is not.
Yeah, right. But I wanted to clarify certain things. If you say a sitting governor investing state money in family business, that's inaccurate. That's where the point is. The point is the brewery is not a family business, right? The brewery is a foreign company that come into the state, correct? Then the state invested into the brewery and family member invested into the brewery.
The brewery, according, I'm reading his interview with Kadaria,
Yes.
and I don't exactly. I think this was around 2019. I remember I was
Yes.
in Nigeria then when this was brewing.
Yes.
This is this is Obi's word. I brought international breweries into Nigeria, and as a governor of the state, they built greenfield facility, and they came to me and said, as our partner, we want you to own 15% of this company. And I said, no, not right now. I am the governor. I know the future of this brewery, and I want the state to own 10%. And since I'm no longer involved in the company, they can own 5%. I put $30 million of state money there. That
Yes.
is Obi's word. He brought, the brewery is a business concern that he brought, and his family is involved in that company. And as far Ikide is as mentioned.
No, let me come in there. You have just misquoted what you read. The governor invited a company. It's not the governor's company, right? Invited a foreign company.
No,
The company
actually, he said the company belonged to his parents. This is in.
Okay, well, please, can you just take it? I'm just quoting what you read. The governor invited a brewery. The brewery has got nothing to do with his family.
Actually, no, that's not what will be said to Kadaria. It's on NTA. It's recorded.
Can you read? I know the issue. That's why I know this discussion. Can you read what you just wrote? Because at times we need to get
I'm reading it. So let me read it. I read a portion of it. Let me read another the statement from him. This is verbatim. This is in the report. He claimed that the company belonged to his parents, and
which company? Which of the company?
Of course, the brewery is what we're talking about.
No, it's not the brewery. That's where you are getting it from. Next belongs to his company. No, please. Let's not conflict issue. Next belongs to his company, his family. Brewery is not his family business. That's the fact.
Okay.
So here is the fact. The fact is that Next is his family company. He brought in Brewery, which is one of the biggest companies, to come and site in Anambra. The company said, okay, since you brought us, we are going to allocate 15% to you. He said, no, I cannot. So in that 15%, the state take 10% and invested money. His family take 5% and invested money because he was no longer connected with Next. So these are the facts.
But he was connected. He was connected though. He's using. It looks like he's. Listen to me. He looks like he's using his the prestige of his office to enrich his family. How can't you see that? You're a lawyer.
Oh, okay. So fine.
The Baron and Deji. SAP is a foreign company, is a South African company. So that's not P2B's company. Let's state that clearly for anybody else that is listening. That's a foreign company.
But he brought the foreign company in though.
Yeah.
Let's not play with words. Look. I respect the man. You know, it's not about him, but this is an opportunity to begin to set clear expectations about what is appropriate and what is inappropriate. I mean, I'm not convinced that he didn't use the prestige of his office to help his family, and the responses I'm getting are not particularly helpful.
Okay, but can I come in? So
sure.
Here's the fact. So let us. I have advised a whole lot of companies, a whole lot of, directly or indirectly, I've reviewed contracts where companies are invited into countries, right? So, and normally many states government, there is always this fear of multinational companies going to states to cite their company because, of course, policy, security, and so on and so forth. Now, if a company is coming, as in this case, I just want to put a context before I come to the one for P2B and the brewery company. If a company is coming, there are choices. The company may decide to want to raise 50% of the money locally because of the so that they can see state commitment or government commitment into the company. Now, money has to come forth. So in this particular case, a company has been invited. The company said, okay, well, since you've invited us, you're going to give us this, we want us to cite in your company. You will have to invest 15%. You have to take 15% of the company and invest money. Remember, the 15% is not free. You put some money. Now, in his position as a governor, he said, no, I can't, because I know before then he has already relinquished positions with Nest. Nest is a family business that they've been running, but of course he has relinquished position with there. He doesn't have any connection with Nest. As I said, the company needed 15% to take off. The state
That
have a choice. I want to come. Let me just land, please. Is that okay?
Go ahead.
Can I continue?
Go ahead.
Okay. So the governor has a choice. The governor has a choice to say the state won't invest any money. The company can go and source money outside, or to say, okay, looking at all what we call the best partner and worst. Now, what's the best alternative? What's the worst alternative? What are the benefits to the state? He took the position to say, okay, well, the state can invest 10%, then family business can invest 15%, 5% to ensure that the state takes off. Um, in all honesty, I personally am telling you now from a legal point of view, there is nobody that could say you cannot argue it in court and say he's broken any rules, because it's either he takes the 5% or somebody else takes it.
Since he's the chief executive in charge of the sovereign wealth of Anambra State,
Mhm.
what Pa Ikide is saying is, and what we are interrogating is, it is incumbent upon him to have seen that as a conflict of interest. And your statement that Obi wasn't involved in Next is not correct. It's contradicted directly by Obi's interview on Spotlight. He said, as of the time he first tried to deny that he wasn't part of, and then the interviewer told him, CSC record shows that your name is still in the document, in the formation. And Obi's response is, Next was my family business. It belonged to my father and I ran it for a while. Yes, I have shares in Next. He has shares. He's in using public coffers to benefit his family business, in which he also has an interest. Even if he doesn't have an interest, the fact is, as the chief executive officer, as the person in charge of the state purse string, probity requires that he should have seen the glaring conflict of interest in that transaction, and he shouldn't have been involved in that, which then raises the question, what is the certitude that he's not going to do the same thing with the presidency?
Okay. Let me come through. I do. Okay. So we are always going to agree or disagree. People are going to approach issues a little bit differently. I have always said, as I pointed earlier, I look at issue from legality, negligence or recklessness. Now, in this particular context, it's not illegal that a family business can invest in a business that the state invests in. I don't think it's negligence because, of course, it was clearly thought through. And then I don't think it's reckless. Now, it's a morality issue. Some people will approach it because I'm the executive governor of the state, I don't want my family to invest in anything. But of course, what if you invest in a company that you don't even know that the state, your family invest in a company that you later go and invest without knowing that a family member has investment there? All sort of issues. There's always this what if, what if, what if. Now, in terms of Next, I know for a fact that P2B, as at the time he become governor of the state, he has no connection with it. That you've run Next before doesn't mean as at the time that he was governor, based on the inquiries, he has no interest in Next. But
Right.
I'm going by my own research. Let's go for the basis of the argument, because we cannot always, the basis of the argument, you said he has shares in Next. Now, if you know structure normally for Igbo families, you can leave things, but because it belongs to your family, when anything happens to it, you have your own interest. I have communal lands in my place where we have given people. I haven't been involved in many years, but if they sell these family lands today, I will have my own interest there because it's family, family investment or whatever they call it. So coming to that point, I do not see where that happened as president. Let me concede for one point that he would have acted maybe if as some people have said, why would he invest family business in the company where the state invested money? Well, as a man, he's learned from that. Was there any illegality? No. Did he benefited personally as a result of the fact that his family invested? I don't think it's a clear yes or a no answer. But in a way, well, we cannot all get it right. Nobody expects you to be a perfect person, and I definitely don't expect him to be a perfect person. But going to break the rule is where I draw the line. So I do not see him doing such a thing at the federal, lesson may be learned or approach may be a lot more different. I think that's where I want to stop on it for now.
Thank you very much, Baron. So what I'm going to do next, because there's just been the same voices talking, I'm going to bring some people into the room and make them speakers and then give them an opportunity to ask a question. This is going to be a quick fire round and it's going to go in this order. I'm going to give everybody on this list 60 seconds. I promise you, I will cut you off after 60 seconds. No need to stand on protocol and greet everybody in the room. Please just ask your question or make your comment as succinctly as possible. Number 1 will be Chidi Cadet. Number 2 will be Onyema Uche. Number 3 will be Sohai O. Number 4 will be Dan Okay. Number 5 will be Barry Otubu. If your statement is a question, I will equally give Baron 1 minute to respond as succinctly as possible. If it's just a statement, then we'll just move on to the next person. So I'm going to go ahead. I see Chidi has already unmuted. Oh, by the way, if I've called your name and you no longer want to speak or you don't want to come up, then please let me know and we'll quickly move on to the next person. So starting first is Chidi Cadet. Please ask your question or make your statement in 60 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Chidi. I'm a member of the African Action Congress and a supporter of Omoyele's show, right? With the submissions I've heard so far, it is very clear to me that on the part of the speaker, he has directly or indirectly proved to us that Peter Obi, as the chief security officer of the state, failed to protect his state. It doesn't matter for whatever reason, but at least he accepted that he couldn't do enough to protect his people. And he also says that Peter Obi believes that people should be compensated, that the people that were involved in the Awkuzu massacre, something should be done about it. But I've never heard Peter Obi apologize or own up for that incident. All I hear is him exonerating himself or his supporters trying to exonerate him. Even the speaker tried to do this. So my simple question is this: does the speaker expressly own up right now or believe that Peter Obi failed in his duty as the chief security officer of his state in protecting his people against the menace of SARS? Thank you.
Baron, 1 minute, please.
No, I do not think he failed. I do not think Peter Obi did anything wrong as to what happened in Awkuzu. Now, I wanted to go on the timeline of what actually transpired in Awkuzu because a whole lot
1
of
minute,
people,
sir.
I will just try and put it.
a whole lot of people have conflated the issue as to the involvement of Awkuzu and P2B. P2B did what he can do. He got to that point on time, retrieved the body, order autopsy, set up an inquiry, federal government took it. I think a few months later, he was removed from office, he had to go back. So these are the circumstances. So anybody trying to say he never protected his people, he failed, those ones are just propaganda. It doesn't speak to the facts on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Next person I'm going to bring up is Onyema Uche. Bear with me 1 minute, and I'm just going to give him access. Onyema Uche, please go ahead. Mr. Chidi Cadet, if you'd like to mute yourself, please. Onyema Uche, please go ahead, or I'm moving on to the next person.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Okay, my own is
Good evening.
Contribution in support of what Baron have just said. P2B protected his people, of which in the Secretariat of Anambra State, while he was the governor, we can all see the way he handled the community security, community policing in Anambra State. On the issue of SARS, I don't know why we are not asking pertinent questions. Who is in charge of federal SARS? Who is in charge of FSARS? Why are we going to blame P2B in Anambra State while we are exonerating Goodluck Jonathan, who is the commander-in-chief of armed forces? I think that's a pertinent question we're supposed to ask. And again, FSARS is not answerable to Commissioner of Police in a state. FSARS only answers to the IG directly. And we are also making this mistake of saying, what did the commissioner do? Commissioner self cannot do anything on the that have to do with FSARS. We have a case in River State here where Akipako Rede was a menace in River State, and he was not removed.
You have 10 seconds.
And he was not removed until he got promotion before he was now transferred to a bigger position. So we shouldn't make that mistake when it had to do with the FSARS and a commissioner of police in one point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please, host, may I respond quick, please?
You have the same 60 seconds, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Section 15, subsection 1 of our Constitution and paragraph 4, subject to the provisions of this section, the governor of a state or such commissioner of the government of the state as he may authorize in that behalf may give the commissioner of police of that state such lawful directions with respect to the maintenance and security of public safety and public order within the state as he may consider necessary, and the commissioner shall comply with those directions or cause them to be complied with, provided that before carrying out any such direction under the foregoing provisions of the subsection, the commissioner of police may request that the matter be referred to the president. Uche, what you just stated is categorically false under the known laws of Nigeria. Obi could have issued instructions to the commissioner of police according to the subsection 4, and the commissioner is required to follow that or pass it up to the presidency. The fact that the Obi campaign has not been able to articulate what instructions they gave the commissioner of police regarding the floating bodies speaks not very well about Obi's legacy in Anambra regarding this particular topic.
Okay, that's enough. Sorry, I was on mute. I was screaming enough. So next I'm gonna go to Sohai O. Let me add you as a speaker. If you can hear me, please go ahead and speak. Oyema, I'm just gonna remove. Sohai O, if you can hear me, please do so. Otherwise, you move to the next person.
Sorry, hi everyone. I just wanted to make a statement. I don't think Nigeria has ever been in the business of employing or hiring or voting in saints and perfect human beings to become presidents of the country. So Peter Obi has his flaws. He's only human. He's not perfect. There is no president we've ever had before in the world that has fixed every problem in his country. It is not done. It has never been done. It will not be done in any generation. But what we have to do is to elect the person who has the best interest of the country at heart. And from everything Baron has said, I agree with him. Now, Peter Obi may have failed security-wise. Peter Obi may have had conflict of interest, but that is not enough. Because I can list 10 presidents of the world who have had similar problems. You want us to start with Putin, or do you want to talk about Donald Trump and his children Ivanka and her husband, his son-in-law Jared, who have this conflict of interest everywhere? Let's be fair, Tony Blair, in the UK Prime Minister, he was also involved in the Panama Papers. Putin is still there. I can list a lot of presidents who are also there. It doesn't change anything. Who has the best interest of the country at heart is who we're electing. Peter Obi is the man. That's the first thing I want to say. Secondly, I want to also...
That's all the time you have, sir. That's exactly 1 minute on the dot,
thank you.
please. Next, I'm going to bring Dan OK or Dan Oak onto the... Let me just... Okay, if you want to go for it, please. And your 60 seconds starts now. Dan OK.
All right, thank you very much. Hi, everyone.
Hi there.
I agree with the last speaker and very much with Mr. Baron. You know, after the Panama Papers, you know, he had said clearly that all throughout his time as a governor, 1 naira was not added to the accounts, the offshore accounts. I think if we are objective here, we want to know the character of the person, not whether he made an omission or not. That's the issue. So if there is a problem, I think it might make sense to go out there and if you think you are suspecting something, go out there and make inquiries. Can we see when last investments were made in that account, that offshore account? I think let us be objective. What we want to know, what is of importance here is the character of this person. Does this person steal money? Does he have greed? Yeah. So clearly, he has shown clearly there have been nothing showing that this man has stolen money. Yeah, there are mistakes here and there, conflict of interest, but clearly nothing has shown that he has the character that is of stealing or of embezzling funds. That is just all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Last person I'm going to bring up is Barry Otubu. So if you can see, sorry, Otubo, I apologize. You now have speaker rights. So if you'd like to go ahead and make your comment, please. Hello, Barry Otubo.
Hello.
Hello there.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thank you for this great privilege. And I like what is happening now. It's all about interrogating issues. Gone are those days where we vote based on sentiments and primordial issues. So I want to ask a question. I believe the purpose of this space is all about knowing better the activities of our candidates. So I believe that the question is, are we going to equally, discuss other candidates, especially the frontline candidates like the APC candidate and the PDP candidate? Thank you.
So I can speak to that. That's actually not a Baron question. Thank you for answering all the questions thus far, Baron. Yes, so this space, the hashtag Diaspora Challenge has been running for, I want to say, a little over 6 weeks now. In that time, what we initially did was we brought supporters or speakers on behalf of each candidate to the fore and have them support their candidates. We're now trying to streamline that as we get closer to the elections, where we face each candidate head on and bring out what we see as the most egregious or the most visible controversies that they might have, and have their supporters speak to that against the backdrop of truth and facts. We are always fact-checking on this space so that the people listening can be better educated as to the decision they want to make when they head into the ballots. a couple of weeks ago, we spoke on Tinubu's forfeiture of his US assets, and we will visit Tinubu again, as we will Atiku, Kwankwaso, and the other front-running, and we also obviously have Torres supporters here, if they're willing to come back for where they get grilled onto some of their candidates' perceived or alleged weaknesses or infractions. We want to have those conversations. It's not enough to just say, my candidate is the best, my candidate is the best. Can you answer the tricky questions? That's what we are trying to do on #DiasporaChallenge. And these are the conversations that we think are important. Given what we know today, for example, we've seen that there are people in the room that think Obi could have done a heck of a lot more when it comes to the Awkuzu scandal. And there are people who think he might have been more removed from the governmental investments and things going on in Anambra State. We will let people make their decisions, but we want to give everybody a chance to defend their candidates, or everybody a chance to ask very critical questions of their candidates, actually. We're leaving the next half hour for the next superstore, or the business called Next, and Obi's involvement with that. But it seems like that has been kind of rolled into the Panama situation. So what I would like to do going forward is to have, I'm going to do more of these 1-minute sessions. So if you are interested in speaking, in asking a question or making a comment, please put your hand up, or please request to speak, and I will bring you on for 60 seconds, after which we will have Obi supporters. Actually, maybe one of my speakers can help me here with Twitter Spaces. It should not maybe fall on Baron to answer all the support questions. So if there's a way that any of the other speakers are happy to take on the question, maybe there's a way that they'll let me know, and then I can bring them on just to support Baron, so he doesn't feel like he's being ganged up against. Yes, please.
Hey, Rajo, before we go on, I wanted to point out something here. I know we are talking about Panama paper.
Sorry, please. Who's speaking? Is that CBN?
Yes, I'm sorry. I should have said that earlier.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, let me. I hope we all understand what Panama Papers is all about. It is not a criminal anything. It's just Panama Papers is an offshore account. It's used by everyone. If you have money you want to keep away from your government, you can open an account in a foreign country. The one that is being referred to as Panama Papers is because it was leaked. So countries such as Switzerland and so many other countries have it where you can have an offshore account that they don't report to your government. I hope we don't equate Panama Papers with criminality. No, it is not. The question should be, was any state money stolen and put in an offshore account? That we haven't been able to find that. So don't think when you hear Panama Papers that it is something to do with a criminal account. That's
understood. And this seems to be a running theme, and I'm going to let Paikide weigh in on this. There seems to be a running theme with from what we're getting from this, there seems to be playing in the gray areas, maybe not necessarily doing anything outrightly illegal, but certainly doing things that might raise an ethical question mark. I don't think anyone here has accused him of any illegality, as we did with the Tinubu US forfeiture situation, but there certainly seems to be some sort of gray area here where we think there are things that he could improve on. I'm going to let my co-host just speak for a short while in case he has anything to share. And then anybody who's interested, please put your hand up to speak and we'll start bringing you in turn by turn.
Yeah, I agree. I think clearly we are mature and intelligent enough to know what is criminal versus what is sketchy regarding ethical behavior. There's my sense from reading all about the issue is that Peter Obi has skirted ethical boundaries And it could be written or unwritten. And I would just add that this is the important point. He's part of a culture. He's part of a culture that feeds off of a lack of accountability. And everything has to have context. You're right. Compared to the other candidates, he clearly is head and shoulders above all of that. It's just that we have a new opportunity here to begin to say, well, you can't do this. You can't, invest government funds in family business. You can't walk away from something because you say, I'm just the governor. I can't do anything about scores of bodies floating on the river. By the way, whatever happened to is it Waffle? Is he still around doing nothing? I mean, is he in jail? Is he free? Is he alive? Nobody knows. The issue is a total lack of accountability. And I just want to use this opportunity to thank all the young people of social media for A, forcing accountability, and B, raising the level of discourse in the Nigerian political space. We would not be here today without the work of these folks. Relying on the traditional media, relying on traditional intellectuals has put us in big trouble. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Chidi, I can see your hand up. I will call you after the next set because you've had an opportunity to speak. I will call you, excuse me, after the next 3 speakers. Mr. Barrio Tubo, I would like you to stay on the call to support Baron with any answers. And I will also give you an opportunity to do that, Sohayo, as well. I'm hoping to get more dissenting voices because we don't want this to be an Obi fanboy space. We want to ask critical questions that can make a difference. So I'm going to start with Africanoid, then I'm going to move to Paul Toby, then I'm going to go to the Hermit before I circle back to Mr. Chidi Cadet. Once again, the 60-second rule stays in place. Short and snappy, no need to stand on protocol at all. Please ask your questions and give the supporters an opportunity to respond. So I'm going to start with Africanoid. Let me see if I can now add a speaker. Africanoid, if you can hear us, please go ahead and start your statement. Twitter has taken a minute to think about it. Africanoid, if you can hear us, please unmute and start your question or statement, please. Yeah. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't think he's with us, so I'm going to move straight to the next speaker.
Can you hear me now?
Which should be. Yes, we can hear you now.
All right. Good evening.
Nearly missed your slot. Good evening.
So my own concern is the fact that we have people who would condemn some characters that are related to this same person they are trying to to sell out to Nigerians as the next president. You cannot exonerate Peter Obi from anything that you condemn Tinubu for today. But if you agree that, okay, well, they are all the same, they are families, we just prefer him as, okay, I don't even think he is a lesser evil. I see the likes of Tinubu as the lesser evil because they identify with whatever you probably had accused them for. But him himself, people come to say Peter Obi said he would do this and then speak on his behalf. There is nothing I've ever said about my candidate or Moyele Sowore that are not the things that out, whether in article, whether by tweet, whether in a video or an interview. I would not come and speak things that he did not say.
Africanoid, 10 seconds, right, please. If there's a question in there, please ask it.
Is that if truly I want people to, I want Baron to say, is it that you want to change the status quo for real, or you just want to package also from their cabal? For us, I want to know, are we changing the status quo, or we still want to remain with the old order? Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, please. I don't know who's speaking, but your line isn't clear.
Hey, this is CBN here. So
Okay.
Neither Baron nor anybody on this panel is speaking on anyone's behalf. All we are doing here is just stating the facts. Baron is stating the facts as a lawyer, what he sees as a lawyer. We are not speaking on P2B's behalf. P2B, Atiku, or
Baron has said things that he said, Peter Obi said,
Sibian,
So,
yeah, Sibian, please, that's not correct. Baron is here speaking on behalf of Baron is speaking on behalf of the campaign. He's part of the campaign.
Oh, okay. Then my bad on that. My bad on that. But we are sticking to the facts. We are just explaining, going by what we see and what we've read on the from what the candidates have said and done. That's what we are looking at. Okay.
Okay, hold on, please. Africanoid's question was this: if we are going to hold every other candidate to a certain level, we need to hold Obi to that same level. So the question is, if I've gotten it right, are you actually wanting change, or are you pushing your own candidates just based on the fact that you like that candidate? Because it seems like if it's something that comes to Peter Obi, you push it off as, oh, it's not that bad. Oh, I haven't seen anything, he hasn't done anything wrong here, which is something you might well crucify another candidate for. If that is the question, I would like Baron to tackle it in 1 minute, please. Or if he would like to pass it on to Mr. Barry Otubo, I would like him to do that. 1 minute, please, Baron.
Okay, let me address it.
Thank you.
As I've said earlier, I draw the line when it comes to illegality. So I cannot, in all honesty, support any candidate that has committed an unlawful act. And you cannot say that P2B has committed any unlawful act. As I've said earlier, there may be negligence and recklessness. Now, you cannot compare P2B with the two front candidates. Tinubu has committed an unlawful act. And I can tell you in all honesty that Atiku Abubakar has committed an unlawful act. You know, any day that will bring his discussion up on this platform, it will be clear. So are we looking for a perfect candidate? No. Are we looking for somebody who has the capacity, commitment, and competence to change what's happening? Yes, that's what Nigerians are looking for. And we have somebody who has demonstrated that. There is no way you can argue that P2B hasn't demonstrated capacity, commitment, competence, and intention to benefit the life within his 8 years of Anambra.
So that we can just do some interaction, if the host can, because what you said now is incorrect. I posted a video on the Jumbotron where Peter Obi admitted that he invested Anambra State money into cash and carry, and then he was even asked a question.
Conflict of interest. Can you play, please? It's unfair to actually interfere when someone is speaking.
To interrupt, yes, please.
And trust me. Can I finish, please?
Baron, please go ahead.
Yes. So we can only look to P2B's time in governor to determine what he can do as a president. Now, I don't deal with propaganda because, of course, one thing that I have noticed in the Nigerian political landscape is propaganda. People mix pictures. There is no evidence. And let me tell you, if you don't know about this, know it for a fact. P2B cannot invest the state governor's money into a private business, into his family business. He can't. There is no evidence to that.
Sorry, the 60 seconds is up, Baron. I'm
Thank
sure
you.
other people have
sorry about
questions,
that.
so I will let them, they will still ask you about this. I just wanted to follow that up with when you say you draw the line at unlawful. I understand your stand on ethics or mistakes that can be forgiven. Failure to declare offshore assets is unlawful, sir. We had conversations in the past about Buhari's, the 100 cows or 120 cows. Failure to declare offshore assets is unlawful. So if the statement is, I draw the line at unlawful behavior, he has participated in unlawful behavior. Will you state here that, you know what, he's still my candidate, but that was wrong of him?
No, of course. If I'm a lawyer and I stand firmly on illegality. If I need to really, because this is the first time that I am even hearing that P2B didn't declare his offshore account in, what I know about the facts of those incidents was that the Panama paper disclosed his investment. So the argument was whether he discloses for tax purpose, whether he has his tax avoidance or tax tax avoidance or tax. There was this phrase that was used. So now the clarity was no. These are not things that I had before. I had after I was governor. These were things that I had before I was governor. So when I wanted to enter politics, I had to put them in an offshore account, and nothing from my time as governor has gone into there. So, but if, in all honesty, and I say with a big if P2B hasn't declared his offshore account or in interest in the INEC form, that's unlawful. He hasn't behaved well. So I cannot stand here and say, well, if he hasn't declared it, it's right. No, I need to confirm that he didn't declare that. But the argument was not about disclosure or not. The argument was whether he was avoiding tax or wasn't avoiding tax. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, I'm going to go to, sorry, who's that? Who was speaking, please?
Deji, please.
All right, because I don't want to belabor this point, and I do have people
I just wanted to point something out quick. Baron is wondering. I get that this is the first time you're hearing this, and you were wondering if it's tax evasion or tax avoidance. I think I go back to Pa Ikede's statement earlier. Standard practice when you go into politics, you put your investment into blind trust. Obi did not do that. To claim that he wasn't personally benefiting from his government service when he didn't put these things in a blind trust stretches belief. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all. I'm not going to come back to you, Baron, because I think we've belabored this point at this time, especially when you say you are unfamiliar with the furore around the Panama Papers. Next, I'm going to bring up Paul Toby. I'm just going to add you as a speaker now. So if you can hear us, please go ahead and make your 60-second assertion.
Yeah, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we are forgetting about the fact that P2B committed a human rights violation, which I think the man in Anambra State, the man that they discovered a skeleton in his hotel, in his hotel room, no, in his hotel rather, and after 2 hours after he was arrested, the state government went to demolish his hotel. P2B was the one that carried down the contractors to the hotel, and they demolished the hotel without a proper investigation. I don't know. Brown hasn't talked about it. No one is talking about it, and they don't care to talk about it. I think that's my question. They should answer why Peter Obi didn't talk about it.
Thank you for coming under 60 seconds for the first time. I'm going to be honest in saying this is the first I've heard about this, so I'm going to let Baron answer this. If he cannot, we're going to let...
I can. I am familiar with
splendid.
it. I hold it. Yeah, I know every detail. Now, it wasn't that. Okay, so let me start with, there was a law when the P2B came into governor of Anambra State. There was a kidnapping. People were kidnapped, killed, and all sorts of things were happening. And this particular man in question have a hotel that was harboring most of those kidnappers. Even victims were taken to those hotels. But that's not, before we get to that point, also when people become the law, they enacted a law that anybody that's directly or indirectly involved with kidnapping in the state, any property that has been found to be involved in kidnapping, that property would be demolished. So this particular man, I think I did a thread about it, was a hotelier. When they arrested on some kidnappers who were taken to that hotel, it was clear that that hotel was used to harbor kidnappers and victims of kidnapping to extort the family. Investigation, I think there was even in an order that order that...
Hello, excuse me, sir. There wasn't.
I don't like when somebody, please, can you just hold on?
1 minute. Everybody gets a turn, please. I'm going to give him an extra, so he's going to have 30 seconds to wrap up. Please, Baron, help bring this home.
You are free to ask your question. So the property was demolished based on the extant of law of the state. Now, here is the issue. After that, the man took the matter to court, and the High Court of Anambra State upheld that the demolition was in line with the extant law of the state. He took the court to the Court of Appeal. That is where the matter is. So I don't understand where he hasn't been talked about. He has always been talked about. The man in question brought his claim to...
That's 30 seconds, sir. Thank you very much. So your final answer is it has been talked about and Peter Obi acted within the lines of the law. So after Paul Toby, the next person I have, Paul Toby, I'll still circle back to you if you have other questions. The next question is from the Hermit. Please unmute yourself and speak. You have 60 seconds on the clock.
Good evening, everybody. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, I don't have any question in particular. I just wanted to appreciate Baron for what he has been doing for the obedient movement and answering all these questions. You are doing great, sir. Continue the work. That is all.
Thank you very much, sir. They said you're doing well. Thank you, the Hermit. Another one under 60 seconds. I love to see it. I'm going to bring in leaders, ladders. I've got one requested here. If you would like to ask a question or make a point, please request to speak. I need to remove 1 or 2 people so that I can make this happen. And then I'm going to bring in leaders, ladder, I think wanted to speak. You now have speaking permission. If you'd like to go ahead, you have 60 seconds on the clock. Leaders ladder, can you hear me?
Yes, of course, I'm here. I'm hearing you. I'm here.
Perfect. If you'd like to go ahead, please.
Yeah. So talking to the topic of today, interrogating Peter Obi's legacies. So, but I don't know the aspect of the legacy you're talking about. Are you talking about when he was governor or after he was governor, or all his legacies in his life? What aspect of his legacy?
All the if we can probe Tinubu's US forfeiture, we can probe Peter Obi in any capacity in any leadership capacity. So that's what we're talking about here.
Okay, quick. Let me take you back to 2019 election. During the 2019 elections, who are the people that contested for the PDP primary election? The people that contested include Atiku Abubakar, Dati Baba Ahmed, who is the vice presidential candidate of Peter Obi right now. One of the people that contested is also Kwankwaso, who is now the presidential candidate of the NNPP, New Nigerian People's Party. So those three candidates, they are now running for president now in three different political parties. And the three of them contested for primary election in 2019. What I want to say about Peter Obi's legacy was that in 2019, when
you have 15 seconds, sir.
In 2019, when he gang up with Atiku Abubakar, he also supervised purchasing of delegates in 2019. Because in 2019, Dati Baba Ahmed also contested for primary election, and he was one of those people. And what is Kwankwaso? They are complaining in 2019 that these guys are buying delegates, these guys are paying delegates. So
okay, I'm sorry, I haven't heard a question. So do you have a question to ask?
I was not asking any question. I'm talking to the topic.
Right, okay. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to move on to the next speaker. If we have time, I'm definitely going to circle back to you. When I do so, please try to keep it within 60 seconds so that you give your most punchy. I take on board that you had to get some clarification first about, is it only when he was in governor? But I gave you an extra 60 seconds. So please, if I get the time to circle back to you, please keep it as brief as possible. I'm going to go back to Chidi Cadets now, if he still has a question. I know your hand has been up for a while, but I did promise that I was going to circle back to you.
Well, thank you. You made me lose my chance. You said after three people, but thank you very much. Well, I would like to hold Baron by his words and tell him that he's absolutely wrong in his assertion about P2B. And when he said he was not aware of this publication, I'm going to read directly from Sahara Reporters. Sahara Reporters says that the investigation reveals that P2B had several secret business dealings in relationship, including some clandestine setup operated overseas. And when he was contacted, he was said to have admitted that he did not declare these companies and the funds and properties they hold in them. Now, I did a layman's search in Google, and what I asked is, why is Panama famous for money laundering? And the answer is to avoid the developed capacity of the banks to detect the introduction of illicit capital, the geographic, and then another thing was, why do millionaires have offshore accounts? And the answer is the offshore financial system offers privacy, which can provide an opportunity to hide assets from authorities, creditors, and other claimants, as well as from public scrutiny. So the fact is that P2B was aware of what it's doing, and that standard is not acceptable for somebody who is going to lead Nigeria, not like a Moyele Sowore who doesn't have those kind of accounts. Thank you.
Thank you. Baron, I'm going to give you the opportunity to speak, to respond to this. You have 60 seconds on the clock.
Well, let me just say that, keeping money in offshore account is in no way clear proof that you are avoiding, the local bank or financial services from monitoring you. I know that certain practices, especially here, that people put money offshore is to, reduce their tax liability. Other people may think it's wrong. Other people may think there's nothing wrong with that. It's a question of morality. You go to countries that you pay less tax. So we are not talking about what the Moderator can do or cannot do. We are saying that the money that he puts there, from his own explanation, from Mr. P2B's own explanation, he said, when I wanted to venture into politics, the businesses and the investment that I had, I put it, I set up an offshore company and put it there. So that is the position that I'm going to adopt. I don't have to talk about what Sowore can do or what Sowore cannot do. And in this context, do I think that putting a proper
Thank you,
investment
Mr. Baron.
offshore? Okay, sorry about
Thank you, Mr. Baron.
So thank you, I yield.
Thank you.
Can I have a question on that, please, if you don't mind.
60 seconds starts now.
Thank you. To Baron, Obi is running for president. Obi is no longer just a regular Nigerian. Accountability, probity, and trust matters in selecting our president. If Obi puts money in offshore accounts, and as Chidi mentioned, we know how those offshore accounts are usually used. Does that present a moral conundrum? And does that in some ways make Obi indistinguishable from the other corrupt leaders that he is seeking to replace? Thank you.
Yes, keeping money in an offshore account, I don't think, point to corruption. In a way, it's all about trying to say, build what we call Chinese wall. When these are things that I had before I venture into politics, I keep them separate. Now, this is my new life. Now, there will be a problem when you start to see money move from, when he was a governor or when he's going to be a president to those, but then you can start to question it. As I have mentioned earlier,
Sorry to interrupt you, Baron. I'm only interrupting because I want to guide your response back to what I think the question is. The question is about declaration. Regardless of when he had it, what he wanted to use it could have been in the trillions. Declaration of these assets in an offshore account, not the whys, the wherefores, whatever, when he got it, when he didn't. Declaration, please.
Yes, I was coming to that. Now, not declaring that it's not appropriate. It's, as a matter of fact, it's unlawful. But that has happened in the past, and he's going on as governor. People that know me personally know that if, for example, Peter Obi becomes the president, he will receive the toughest criticism from me, because I have never been a part of somebody who doesn't criticize government. I criticize government because I know that's how government works. I'm only now trying to say, among the front runners, he's the best person. If he comes in as president, he cannot receive criticism. There is no way I'm going to support Peter Obi if he has not declared his property that he had before being a president and say it's okay. I don't stand for that. So he must declare all what he has, because that is the right thing to do. And we must have to
and we're
leaders
at 60
accountable.
seconds. Thank you very much. At least you've conceded that it is unlawful for him to have not declared it. So we have progress. Now, the next person, and I really don't want to, I want to make sure I get everybody on in order of how they had their hand up. So I think he wanted to say something. Please go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to shed more light. So for the Pandora Papers, okay, Peter
Panama.
Yes, but the issue is the Pandora. That's what it's actually called, the Pandora, because Panama, every company from Nike to Coca-Cola have investments and have hidden stuff in Panama Papers, in Panama general accounts. So now what I'm saying is that for the Pandora Papers that were leaked, that had Peter Obi's name mentioned in them, Peter Obi faced the Code of Conduct Bureau and he faced the EFCC on these two, and they found him not wanting. Now, those are the bodies that were set up by government to investigate him. Remember, he was a former governor and he's a presidential candidate right now. If he was found guilty, it would have come out. It hasn't.
The EFCC and INEC and DSS.
Sorry, I have the floor. I'm sorry, I have the
floor. Okay, no, sorry, I thought you were done. I'm sorry.
Okay, now, for the upper class hotel that was destroyed in Onitsha, I'm very aware of that case myself, and human bodies were found in there, and there were weapons and ammunition found in there. He did not, on his own, do something illegal as the governor. Now, for the next issue of next, when Peter Obi was in Nigeria, he was also the chairman of Fidelity Bank. He had his own local banking institution in the country.
You have 10 seconds, sir.
So it's not like as if he has something that he's hiding. I mean, there have been 3 CBN governors since he left Fidelity Bank. Somebody would have said, this is what this man did that was wrong, and nothing has come out yet. Thank you.
Thank you. Trying to do this in order of the hands up. The next hand is UK Forever, and I'm going to bring you into the room. UK Forever. Ike, I'm not sure if you're giving me thumbs up or if you want to speak. If you'd like to speak, please request to speak. That's Ike, IYKE.
Can I chime in quick on that?
Oh, yes, please go ahead before I bring you. We're going to speak while Sohayo was speaking.
Yes, and I apologize for interrupting you, but he did mention that EFCC, DSS, and everybody cleared Obi. I want to make a point for the fact that this same apparatus is also cleared Bola Ahmed Tinubu with fake certificates, forfeiture, and all. So I don't think if you're looking for a fig leaf to absolve Obi's culpability or lack thereof, I don't think the ineptitude of the clearing agency or security agencies in Nigeria is what you want to use as the cover.
Thank you for that. I see Baron's hand up. Baron, please try to remember what you were going to say. I'm trying to bring people in order of how they had their hand up.
Because I'm the one that made.
Sorry, that's Sohayo. Yes, please. You have a right to respond.
So
that's
I noticed
correct.
that I said the code of conduct be reviewed. They actually did investigate his code of conduct. It's not just about the EFCC or anything. Now, Bola Tinubu's case, nobody has said he had something to do with EFCC or something. It's about Chicago, not EFCC. So we have different standards and context we're dealing with here. Thank you.
My point to you is Code of Bureau and these clearing agencies are not the credible saint you want to spray on Obi when you're trying to absolve him, because we know that they've cleared so many other people. They cleared Obanikoro, they cleared Bad, they cleared Atiku. So it's not, when we're talking about Obi and whether or not he is different from the people he's trying to replace, saying that he's been cleared by something from some agencies, some inept agencies, is not a good look, in my opinion. Sorry.
Thank you for that. I can see you, Paul Toby. Just give me 1 minute. I'm going to go to UKAAY. You were to speak next. Please go ahead.
All right. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can. But if you can move closer to your phone, that would help. You have 60 seconds on the clock, please, sir.
All right. I don't want to go further. I've heard a whole lot, being spoken about Peter Obi's legacy. I think I watch on Arise TV. I'm based in the UK, so I use a lot of my internet to watch on Arise TV. And I was able to see Peter Obi defend what he was able to declare to INEC and what he couldn't declare to INEC, because at that time he was, I think, the head of an organization outside the country. So this point of trying to absorb Peter Obi from maybe taking him into something that he was able to, hide from people, I don't think it's necessary, because I think nothing has really indicted him right now that he's hiding something outside. So if he's given the opportunity for him to rule Nigeria, I don't think papers will be made straight. Nothing at any point, has been able to absorb him.
10 seconds, sir.
Doing something, please. So that is the only thing I want to draw to. If someone wants to find out if Peter Obi had done something, you should be able to look at his responses.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. The next person should be Ike. Ike, please go ahead.
Yeah,
Then
you.
after Ike, it's you, Paul Toby.
Okay, thank you, thank you, everyone, and thank you, Baron, your strike. So concerning the offshore account, I think P2B made a statement on that. He said before he became a governor, before he went to politics, he declared his asset for that account. That is like a family investment, which he didn't know that you have to declare. He declared his own personal account, but that offshore account is like a family investment which belongs to him, his wife, and 2 kids. So it's not just he himself, like he just combined everything. So he didn't know that he will be declaring that account too when he declared his account before going to politics. Thank you.
Thank you for keeping it short and sweet. So that was Ike. And so after Ike is Paul Toby. Paul Toby, please go ahead.
The Baron was saying something about there was a court order that whenever something illicit is found in your possession, directly or indirectly, your house or your hotel will be taken down. And I'm trying to that's against the law. The law, even if you are convicted of something, there should be a proper investigation that is going to be done to make sure to know that yes, justice is served right. If yes, you truly do it or you didn't do it. Baron is saying now. So Baron is saying that what if they find something in your house that was planted by someone else in your house, just because there was a law that is going to just say, okay, the thing is found in your possession, they should just break your house. Is that what Baron is trying to Brown is trying to promote? Like, if someone plants something in his house, for example, God forbid, and the thing is illicit, and they found it, government should just come to his house and demolish his house without a proper investigation of knowing whether it was the one responsible for it or not. Because I don't understand what Brown is trying to tell me there, that there was already a law because there was kidnapping and stuff like that. A proper investigation was supposed to be done, but proper investigation was not done. After they found it, after 2 hours, they went to demolish the man's
10
hotel,
seconds, sir.
and even SO is coming here to just say this thing. I'm done. I don't think I have anything to say. Please.
Can I respond?
Thank you. I'm gonna give Baron an opportunity to respond to that.
Oh, okay. So, Toby, I understand your zeal, but that's not law. How law works. Law has its own way that it works. For when there is a law, that is a law. It must be applied. And of course, if you aren't aware, this particular matter, the High Court in Awka certified it. The Court of Appeal sitting in Enugu has actually upheld that the action taken by by the government is okay, and I don't think that person was the only hotelier in Anambra State. If his hotel was demolished for keeping human body and parts, some sort of investigation must have gone on. It cannot be just spotted out and destroyed. He's not the only person who has a hotel in Anambra State. So quite a lot of investigation was done there, and the matter it's in court, and he has lost on 2 grounds, except the Supreme Court will take another position. At the moment, the Court of Appeal has certified the decision of the government as to what they did as at that time, that it was in line with the law. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. I don't see any other hands up. I have Royal Kitchen and Me Bukola at Me Bukola. If you'd like to speak, you have 60 seconds, please.
Okay, yes, what I would like to say is concerning the Panama and the Pandora paper. I'm seeing Panama here, but I read more about the Pandora paper. So the allegations there are quite criminal. It's not, somebody said Panama papers are not violating. He violated, according to what I read, a lot of grounds, not declaring his assets and running offshore accounts, which even up till now, he's still doing some of these things. If you say he didn't know about it, because I had somebody say that he didn't know about it, up to now, Serap mandated all the presidential candidates to declare their assets and everything. And Peter Obi is one of the candidates that have not done that. So we are looking at it from the angle of how is he different from the others? How is he different in terms of his style of governance and everything? There are so many allegations that have been leveled against him. And that's why personally, I can't really vouch for him. I'm a supporter of Elisha already. I can't really vouch.
10 seconds, ma'am.
So I really want you guys to let him come forward and really explain all these things, the allegations and everything, even the Catholic issue of him putting Catholics in his administration. There are so many of it. If you come forward.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Bukola. I'm going to see, I see Sohayo's hand up. So if you are looking to respond to this, please go for it. Otherwise, I'll give you your 60-second, your day in the sun to make your own statement, and we'll pass the response to Baron.
No, I can't respond to Bukola. It's Paul Toby I wanted to respond to. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Hold on, please. I will let you come back to Paul Toby. So Baron, would you like to respond to Bukola, please?
Yeah, Bukola, thank you very much. So many allegations is actually a vague statement. It doesn't say anything. Pandora Papers has got no criminality in it. I'm talking from a position of a lawyer. Now, when you say that you think it's criminal, doesn't make it is criminal. There is a requirement for something to be criminal. That requirement is not declaration. As somebody has said, somebody has actually drawn a little bit of line into what P2B said. He said he declared his own, but the other one that was there that he didn't declare belonged to him and his family. Now I can take that as a reasonable explanation. But in terms of putting Catholic to the time that he was a governor, that's a propaganda, because P2B chief of staff was an Anglican. P2B has people in his cabinet that were Pentecostal. And these are propaganda, these are beer parlor discussions that people blow out of proportion. You know, there is no way, you know, Professor Okonanu.
10 seconds,
Okonanu, yeah, let me just round up. The Professor Okonanu, which was P2B's chief of staff, is an Anglican, an ardent Anglican. So you know when this old propaganda is put, it doesn't actually make it right. So that's
Thank you.
Professor Conan has actually spoken in a space where all of us listen. So thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Let me see the hands that I have up and see if we can. Oh, I'm sorry. So Hayo, you're supposed to. You are going to respond to something. So please go ahead.
Yes, my speech is in line with what Baron has said. Paul, you are very eager, and I can see your youthful exuberance, but I'm sorry, that's not how the way the law works. There are special laws that are also prescribed by states for certain things like kidnap, like drug use. Like even in the US, if you are driving with a car with cocaine in it, even if it's not your car, they will confiscate you and that car, even if you can prove that you don't know how you got into that car. There are some laws that they don't use the process you might think they use. So kidnapping and finding human body and ammunition and everything in your house makes you as guilty as anything. It's now left for you to go prove that you are not guilty. And that is what the guy has been, the owner of the upper class hotel, Bonaventure, has been trying to do. So I'm sorry, but I'm very aware of that upper class hotel, Opiweka, because I know in Anambra. Because I used to pass around that hotel. So I have a very good idea of what happened. And I want to tell you that it wasn't 2 hours they used to demolish it. And you know that it was good that they brought down that place. And if there's any way that the governor abused
10
power
seconds,
as
actions against a citizen who has not been adjudged in a court of law to be guilty of an offense is not acceptable. And I am very distressed that this is what you're saying OB is about, and I am worried that this is what you're saying is going to bring to the federal level. Leaders who don't respect, who don't follow due processes do not belong in Aso Rock.
So can I respond? I never said, I'm not holding brief for Obi. I never said anything about Obi in what I said. Notice the names I called. I didn't say that this is what Obi is going to bring for the future. I'm not even selling the candidate. I am not. If we only have one vote, if you don't want to vote for him, I'm happy for you. I myself will not vote. I'm based outside of the country, so I don't even care. I'm just telling you the fact. There are certain laws that are held differently from other laws, and kidnap and human body parts in your house are one of them. If you think I'm lying, try it and see what goes on. Thank you.
All right, we have less than 3 minutes to the end of this. So I'm going to bring in Prince G briefly. You're going to have 60 seconds. And I want to use this opportunity to talk about the charitable arm of this, just because we do not want to financially incentivize speakers to join us and give them money to come and speak for or against a particular candidate. What we've done is we are going to give a very modest amount to a charity of their preference. I think whether you are for or against Obi, there is no doubt that Baron has held a brief nobly and in a most articulate and sophisticated way. So we will be speaking with him later on to find out what his charity of choice is and we will be extending our widow's mite to that charity. It's important to us that we do not directly financially motivate anyone to come here to speak, but if we're asking for 2 hours of your time, we want to make sure that you see value in that. So to round up, I'm going to bring Prince G on. I am going to give Leaders Ladder 60 seconds just because he's had his hand up for a while. That's it. No. Just Prince G and Leaders Ladder. And then I'm going to go back to Baron to end it. Baron, any words from my co-host, Pai Kide. So Prince G, please unmute and you have 60 seconds.
Thank you very much. Concerning the Panama papers, Pandora papers, about Peter Obi accusation, I think Peter Obi said clearly that he had all investment or whatever he has done, he has invested already before he contested as a governor in Anambra State. Secondly, he has challenged the EFCCs, the government over and over, that let them go and search. If they find him guilty of anything, bring it up, and rather he will also stop running for presidency. What more can a daft or someone who can hear him saying again? It's as simple as that. If your candidate can be as bold as that, let them tell you if they don't have any. And he also said, if there is any property that they can trace him having as a sitting governor that is a title to his wife, himself, he will stop running for presidential race. And also he was, as in they should seize those properties. Yet the government refused to indicate and seize. What more can he tell to a deaf man? Except if not that he is someone who is selling long life and prosperity due to natural hatred for us to deliver ourselves. You will not buy it when you see him selling it. That's just Nigerian for you. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Just right on time. I take on board that was a comment, not necessarily a question. So I'm going to move on to Leaders Ladder, please. Leaders Ladder, you have your hand up and you are on mute.
I'm here.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, finally. So I want to state some legacies of what actually happened during Peter Obi's administration. There is no lie in this. I don't know, maybe it's because of the former administration or maybe because of what has happened before he took over power. But these are the facts of what happened. And let me start listening to you right now. During Peter Obi's administration, doctors went on strike for 13-month strike. 13 months. Anambra State University also went on strike for 6 good months. I don't know, maybe all this happened because of bad administration, Mr. Opposition, but they happened. Peter Obi went on a press conference and said he would sack 3,000 workers because 3,000
1,200 teachers, 1,000 ICT staffs employed by ASUBEB. Peter Obi placed an embargo on the planned employment during Peter Obi's administration in Anambra State. These are not lies. This happened, but I don't know. Maybe they happened because of the state does not have enough fund, or maybe because of the past administration.
10
But they
seconds,
actually
sir.
happened during his administration. These things happened. Staffs, doctors went on 30-month strike. Anambra State University went on 6-month strike.
Okay,
It's
thank you for that.
Peter Obi.
Thank you for your
Okay.
time. I'm going to go to Baron, Sohayo, or Barrio Tubo. Anybody that would like to take this on. We're talking about citizen displeasure or unrest during that time, whereby we had medical strike. I know we've spoken about this at length on a previous platform, on a previous live, I should say. But if they would like to lean in on it, that's healthcare and education.
Okay, so yeah, thank you very much. I want to also thank Niger Foods for what you've been doing. I like to come and, contribute my own little way. I don't live in Nigeria. I don't see myself living in Nigeria, but I think I always say we are cowards who ran away from Nigeria. The young people can, now take steps to try and make their country a better one. So I do my best to try and say this. So let's talk about what he said, 30-month strike. Now, when P2B came in as governor, the governor of the state was in a serious debt and there were no funds. So there was a resolution in the federal government to increase the salary of healthcare workers, and P2B was the first to increase by 60%, as at that time, many states even said they couldn't increase. P2B offered a 50% increase and said that is what the state can offer over time. There will be the healthcare workers said they needed 100%, and that was what led to the strike. P2B said, I can't accept what is not there because there were a huge amount of pension that was supposed to be settled, and it was in debt. I think somewhere along the line, because of that thing, they resolved a 60% increase, and that they called off the strike. And the one of Anambra State University, I am not sure what transpired there, but I think that school going on strike, there was something that P2B did to remove Anambra State, which is why during the time of those strikes, why other universities, state university was on strike, or federal universities, Anambra State University,
10 seconds, sir.
Chukwuemeka Odumegwu University was actually in session. So these are discussions. At times when we come, we should get those facts right so we can address it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, as I say, we have dealt with the strike situation in Anambra during Peter Obi's tenure. I wish the person was on here to speak on that. It was a doctor who was affected by the strikes and yet supported Peter Obi's actions in that time. We have completely gone past the 2-hour mark. However, it seems like there are still questions. There are still people who have one or two things to say. So the only thing I would like to ask is if the Peter Obi supporters are happy to stay on and just answer one or two more questions, it is entirely up to them. I stated earlier that it's not a Peter Obi fanboy session, but it cannot be an assault either. So if they're happy to take more questions, then I'm happy to one or two more questions come through. I would like to hear from Aaron and Sohayo.
Yes, I'm happy. I tried to do as much as I can to make our young people take a position
so on and so forth in place, working with the legislature to ensure the kinds of vision that's driven the young people to him. I want to thank Rachel, thank my co-host for an incredible job. She really didn't need me, but I'm glad that I am here by her side, pulling off one of the best sessions in what's obviously been a very good run for several weeks now. Thank you, everybody.
And while I've got some of my co-panelists, people that help make this a reality, I'd now like to go to Deji, if you'd like to have a few seconds to say something.
Thank you. All protocols observed. I just wanted to tag on to.
You've been looking for an opportunity to use that phrase, so go ahead. Go ahead.
Ikede, thank you for that submission, and you express how I feel about Baron too, so I won't belabor that. I just wanted to clear something up real quick. There was a confusion about Pandora papers, Panama papers, Bahama papers. I want to be clear that there are several papers out there, yes, Panama papers specifically calls out a bunch of obese companies and foundations. So we are not mistaken about that. Some of them have been shut down since, but there is no confusion about what we are talking about specifically. There is Pandora, there is Panama, and the Panama was the one we were hoping to treat today. So thank you everybody for coming, and thank you all the speakers. I will take my leave now. Thanks Rachel and Paikide for doing an excellent job.
Thank you for thanking us. All protocols observed. I see CBN is still with us. If you'd like to say a few words, we'd absolutely love to hear from you. In the meantime, if you would like to ask a question, or you just want to make a statement of support for Peter Obi and back up Baron, please put your hand up and I will bring in the last few hands of question before we end this live. So CBN, if you'd like to say something, please.
Hey, thanks to all of you. Thank you, Baron, for being the gentleman you have been so far. And to all of you that are here listening, I want you all to know that this is not about P2B. This is not about Atiku. This is not about Tinubu. This is about you and I. What we are trying to do here is to build a nation that we can all be proud of. So I want all of you to go home or wherever you are, call people you know back home, tell them to pick and vote for the best candidate that you guys, whoever you want to. Look, we want a place, we want a Nigeria where we can all, you show your passport and you are respected. You want a Nigeria that works for everybody. So I want to thank all of you for being involved, for being engaged, and spread the word about this platform. Let everyone come here. Again, this is not for P2B, this is not for Atiku, this is not for Tinubu. This is for you. This is for you. We want you to be able to travel home, and you won't be afraid of being kidnapped. We want you to get a job that pays you enough back home. We want everyone, a Nigeria that works for everyone, not a Nigeria that works for one particular section of people. Again, Baron, you've been super, and thank you again for being here. And please, folks, tell your friends about this platform. Pick up the phone today and call people. Tell folks to get involved. Remind them not to sell their PVC. The small amount of money that they get today, the 10,000 or 5,000 that they are giving today, is not worth suffering for 8 years or for 4 years. Please do that. Yeah, many of us here are not in Nigeria, but we are concerned. We are worried about what is going on back home. And I think you two should be. Thank you for being here. And please tell your friends to join us. Let's build a country that works. I'm so moved. Thank you very much, Sibian.
if we've got any questions, so I've got Paul Toby with his hand up, but he's the only one. If you do want to speak, please request to speak or put your hand up, and I'll get to you, and then we can close this space. Paul Toby, please go right ahead.
Yeah, thank you. As CBN has said, we should not say our votes. We should just do what's right in the coming 2023 elections and let the best candidates win. But I just want to just chip this in as much as you've talked about P2B, I think we should talk about some other candidates. I don't know if you've been talking about them previously, because I just saw this this space today, and it was Mr. Chidi's Andrew that got into the space. So I think we should be talking more about this, and I feel that's okay. And I feel we should talk about Sharia as well, because we talking about P2B creating awareness. We should talk about other candidates and my candidate as well, which is
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, Paul, you are right on the money. You're absolutely spot on. We have been speaking about other candidates. I'm not sure if you were here when I mentioned it, but 2 weeks ago, we talked about Bola Tinubu, and we absolutely flayed him. And I think we'll do another one. And we're more than happy to speak on Shore as well. Chidi remains a great friend of mine, and we're happy to bring you guys on and just have our questions as to some of his more visible controversies and where he stands on those things. So we don't want to have platforms where we celebrate a particular candidate, if that makes sense. We want to have platforms where we critique a particular candidate. So I'm sure the organizers will be in touch with Chidi and other Shore supporters and actually create a day where you can come on board and support your preferred candidate. So I can see Africanoid's hand is up. Africanoid, you have your 60 seconds starting now.
I wanted to say, please, just like Paul Toby had said, and you also had said before, that we would like to have some of us want to talk about Shore. We want to at least have one team to defend, because there has been said about him. So let people bring it up, so that it will give us an opportunity to also clear the air. And then so I followed the account. I hope we get notification. So that we can...
You absolutely will. I don't know if you can hear me. You are fading out.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me? You will absolutely get notification, and we will absolutely have a day where we talk about Shore. I think what happened when we started was a few of the supporters were somewhat apprehensive that this would be a bashing session. I hope you can see from the way that we have spoken to Byron and the way he has responded that we're not here to bash any candidates, and we're not here to have a marketplace conversation. So the more we have these sessions, the more we see supporters of other candidates coming up to say, okay, if this is how you people are doing it, no problem. We're happy to come on board and support our candidates, which we didn't have before. Many of the various candidate supporters were very, very wary. So and now that we know that Shore supporters are more than up to the task and willing to speak, we'll arrange a session. That's not a problem at all. We want to bring every candidate to the forefront and speak with them accordingly. Thank you so very much. I see one more requested hand. Jimmy Victor, you're welcome. If you'd like to speak, Jimmy Victor, you have 60 seconds, please. Jimmy Victor, can you hear me?
Jimmy is on mute.
You're on mute. Yeah.
So can you hear me?
We can now, yes.
Okay, so I wanted to share the form with the Shore supporters that had intention of speaking. So the form is up there on the Jumbotron. That's the first link. So just fill the link up, and when it's time to speak about candidates, we'll let you know. And please make sure you put your WhatsApp number so we can reach out to you via WhatsApp. Thank you.
Perfect. See, it takes a village to run this space. I didn't even know. Apologies. The form is on the Jumbotron, so please download it, fill it in, and let us know that you're interested, and somebody will get in touch with you. I think that's all the questions that we have. I'm going to give the Baron an opportunity to see us out. His final say about Obi, his support for Obi, why he thinks Obi is the best candidate in this campaign. I think we owe him at least that. It's been 2 hours of non-stop questions. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes, sir, uninterrupted. Just please tell us why you think Obi is the best candidate, and then we will round off with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for everyone who listened. And I take all your questions with good heart. I'm part of the media strategy for I am not being paid. I live in the UK, and I'm just doing it because I think we need to have the best among the best. One of the things that I have that brought me towards Obi is one, he's a dissident in Anambra State. You know, I do not think, in all honesty, there is any past governor who's done as well as he's done in states. You know, if not for nothing, the investment, the education, the health sector, the savings, and so on and so forth. Now, what do we want as a Nigerian? That's a big question. Who do we want to pilot the affairs of Nigeria? Do we want people who will continue to put us deep into the debt or the positions where we are at the moment, or worse position? Or do we want somebody who will change the trajectory towards growth, towards a belief for a better Nigerian? I keep telling a whole lot of people that, well, I have a Nigerian passport. When I tell this story, people think it's a joke. I actually gave up my Cameroon passport because I was born in Cameroon with a Cameroon passport to go for a Nigerian passport. Then I came to England and become a naturalized citizen. But I don't think, fast forward, that many people would not give up their Cameroon passport for a Nigerian passport. So that's how much we've deteriorated. So we want to see a better Nigeria. And among the 3 front runners, we're not talking about, we can vouch with other candidates that are better candidates. But among the 3 front runners now, we know that P2B is the best. He is competent, he has the capacity with commitment, to drive Nigeria. Let us give him a chance. And I want everybody to pick up their vote. He's done well. His manifesto is out there. From every other body that have studied the manifesto, they think his manifesto is the best. So look at it. Convince somebody to vote for him so we can have a new president, a new order, doing things differently from 2022. Thank you, everyone who spent your time. I don't take it for granted. I know this. I was supposed to be only as a listener on this platform, but I had to step in when things didn't work the way it's supposed to work. I don't regret it. I continue to be happy in any platform that promotes P2B or promote good governance in Nigeria. Thank you, everyone, for your time again once more. And thank you for the host and the platform. Niger Vote, I'll continue to promote you as much as I can in my own little way. Thank you.
And we are grateful very much for your time. Thank you once again to all of our speakers, all of our objectors, supporters, everybody who had something to say. I say thank you. This space wouldn't be possible without you. Asking critical questions is what will get us to the leadership we deserve in 2023. So thank you so very much. If you haven't already followed the handle, it is at Niger Votes NG. So the 9, Niger is the number 9, JA Votes NG. Please follow us so you are kept up to speed with whoever we're thrashing next. whoever we're speaking for, against, in support of, by way of, and be a part of the conversation. Without your voice, it's not going to be possible. We cannot live in echo chambers just thinking our man is the best without actually really probing who we are supporting. So I want to say thank you to all of the speakers. Thank you to the people who made the candidates question themselves and question who they support so that we can actually have really, really intelligent conversation. Thank you for keeping it civil and for being a part of it. I can't say any more than that, other than to say I wish you